Now, I'm going to invite in one of the big figures of house music. Marshall Jefferson, no less. He's written a memoir called The Diary of a DJ.
Gotta have house music. Gotta have house music. Gotta have house music. Gotta have house music. Gotta have house. 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 Gotta have house music. Gotta have house music all night long. With that house music, you can't go wrong. Give me that house music. Set me free. Rock your body. Rock your body. Lost in house. Move your music. Rock your body. Move your body. It's gonna set you free. Move your body. Rock set you free. Move your body. Rock your body. Set you free. Move your body. Rock your body. Set you free. Move your body. Gotta have house music. Gotta have house music. Move your body. Move your body. Move your body. Move your body. Rock your body. Rock your body. Rock your body. Move your body. Gotta have house music. Gotta have house music. Gotta have house music. Gotta have house music. Gotta have house music.
I trust you are moving your body. I can still just about move mine. I don't get out to dance to house music as often as I should, though, because it is still one of the great joyous sounds. And the man sitting opposite me is one of the men responsible for the whole thing. He's Marshall Jefferson, one of the big names of house music back in its Chicago days when it was first born. And he's here now. He's here because he's got a book out called The Diary of a DJ. Marshall, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Take me right back to before anyone called anything house music and all of that. How did it start for you? How did you first start getting into this?
Well, I was about 19, 20, and my hormones kicked in.
I think we've all been there.
I mean, they really kicked in, you know, and I found that I could go to clubs and, you know, have a lot of fun. So. Were you
a dancer? Did you dance?
Nah, I wasn't. I was never really a dancer. I was more behind the decks guy.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, because I'm one of the few black people with no rhythm. So,
I can't believe that for a moment.
Dancing was never my thing. It was. I put up with it.
So did you start off like DJing at home, or?
Yeah, I started DJing at home. I was working at the post office, so I was able to afford like whatever I wanted to DJ with. Yeah. So I found out what was the best stuff, and I bought the best. I built my own speakers. They were huge, something that got stolen.
I bet you were popular with the neighbors.
Actually, the neighbors didn't bother me much. In Chicago, we had distance between the houses, right? And we had glass block windows. I mean, the neighbors could still hear, but they were,
They were cool.
Yeah, they were cool.
So what sort of music when you first ventured to playing in clubs, what sort of music were you playing?
Well, when I DJ for the post office, they were like older people, right? So I would play like little bit of poppy stuff, mostly underground stuff, but like say some instant funk. I got my mind made up. Come on, you can get, you can see the old guys on the floor. I got my mind made up. You can get, that kind of stuff. But in Chicago, we were dancing to like a lot of European stuff too.
Really?
Yeah, like say Divine's Native Love and American stuff like B-52s, Rock Lobster,
Kraftwerk and any of that.
Kraftwerk, Thompson Twins. Numbers was huge. Trans-Europe Express was also big.
And is that where the electronic side of it kind of came in? Would you say?
Definitely, because in Chicago it was a different kind of thing. We went full on European. Because that kept the gangsters away.
Really?
Yeah. We went full on European. Even wore like, European clothes and designer because that kept the gangsters away. Because it was a very high crime rate in Chicago, and whenever we couldn't play funk at all.
Really? Because that would have attracted that crowd.
The funk and rap brought the gangsters. To this day, Chicago people do not like rap because there's going to be shooting. I don't care how much security you have, metal detectors, everything, there's going to be shooting.
So you were doing...
By contrast, a house party, no violence, no security, nothing. Just walk in.
And is that where the word house came from? Was it houses or was it warehouses or?
It was Frankie Knuckles' Warehouse Club. We kind of find out if you had a house party, the gangsters would stay away because it was a well-known gay club, right? Yep. The gangsters didn't want to be close to anywhere that was gay. It's a house party. Oh, I'm not going in there, right? So that was our solution right there. Pretty soon you had a house party and there were 5,000 black kids dancing to Visage, and stuff like that.
Steve Strange was a very good friend of mine.
Hey.
Steve and I were mates back in clubs in the days. Did you ever think that this would sweep the world? That you would end up going from, kind of alternative clubs in Chicago to this music that would, for a period of time would take over the world?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
I'm glad you said that.
I thought it would be a lot bigger.
Everyone always says no.
Well, I thought it would turn out to be a lot bigger than it would. I thought it would evolve from the dance floor like rock did, because, rock started out as dance music. My whole thing was the music would expand to where it was almost a genreless state, but it didn't do that because in the beginning, when I started making music, I just wanted my songs to sound different, right? So but every song to sound different from the last started a new genre, which I hadn't intended it to do, right? I said, well, you go out on your own and, everybody expand and pretty soon it's gonna. Was
there competition between you guys?
Oh yeah, there was a lot of competition between us back in the day. It was friendly competition.
Yeah.
But
yourself and Frankie and
it was friendly. It was friendly. It was pretty competitive. I didn't want to work with Frankie or anybody else, and because we all had our individual sounds, right? And I wanted it to expand like that, to embrace the individual instead of like copying off of each other.
How would you have described your sound as different to anybody else's? What did you specialize in, would you say?
Well, a lot of my peers base their sound off disco and electronic. I base my sound off rock.
Right.
So like, although it didn't sound like rock, it was inspired by rock. And that's why, it was able to distinguish itself from like my friends.
There was that period of kind of when each city had a very different sound, didn't it? New York had its own sound. Chicago had its own sound. If you went down to kind of Miami, had a. Do you know what I mean? There were all those different.
Yeah, I tried to stay away from that. I had one song, open our eyes, and they would kind of hit like four or five different genres. They called it deep house, and they called it spiritual house, and they called it New Jersey house, and they called it, but I just wanted it to sound like different.
When did you first start really traveling to play in clubs all over the place?
That was 87, but yeah, 87 is when I started playing all over the world.
Yeah.
86, I started playing on the East Coast and stuff like that.
So where were the first places that really took to it? Would it have been Britain? Would it have been where did it really kind of hit first?
I would say Britain.
Yeah.
Because Jazzy M, I would give him songs and he would play it on LNR. And this was like early 86. And I would give him stuff like the JB Principle.
Because there's always been a big argument here in Britain about whether it was London or Manchester that first had a big kind of house scene. And there was the Hacienda up in Manchester, and there were clubs like Shum down here in London.
When I visited the Hacienda in 87, it sounded like Chicago. Mike Pickering was playing.
Mike's my neighbor. I see Mike all the time.
And I came up, I went up to the DJ booth. I had to, man, I thought you were a black dude from Chicago, because
I'll tell him.
Yeah, because he was playing all the Chicago stuff. But Jazzy M, I gave him a lot of unreleased stuff that he played on the radio. Some of the stuff is still unreleased. And I would have like 4 hour conversations. He would ring me from London, right? And we would talk for like 3 or 4 hours all about like Chicago house and stuff. So he was really up on it. I know he was up on it. So although Manchester was playing it, and we did play the Hacienda on the first house music tour, I was giving Jazzy M a lot of music that he was playing in London. So I think a lot of people from other areas took it from Jazzy M because I did give him the music first.
Did you prefer working in clubs or working in studios? Which do you feel kind of more at home in, do you reckon?
Well, I started out as a DJ, so I felt more at home DJing. Like getting feedback from the crowd.
Yeah. That's still, I used to DJ in clubs. I was never very good at it. I used to specialise in playing the wrong side of the record at the wrong speed. But what is extraordinary is you really know immediately whether a tune has worked, don't you? You can feel it even before it kind of hits, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. And what happens when I DJ is no matter how sick I am, sometimes there have been some times in the past I was barely able to stand up, and as soon as I start playing,
the energy,
the energy for the crowd and all that stuff takes over, and then boom. I've had gotten up there with flu, and when I come off, it's almost gone. So it's like therapy for me, very therapeutic.
Do you still enjoy doing it?
Yeah, I still get that buzz when I play. For the feedback from the crowd and everything. It's always a good to feel like that positivity.
Has the music evolved a lot, would you say, over the time?
No, nowhere near what I expected.
Really?
Yeah.
It kind of got a bit stuck, do you think? Or?
Yeah, people started it made too many subgenres. Every time, and they got locked into those subgenres. See, I never meant for things to get stuck in a 4/4 beat. Mm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
But
that's so often though, because DJs play safe, don't they? They know that that's going to fill a floor. They know that a crowd's going to respond. Yeah. So they get a bit scared, and all right, I'll put that on. I'll put on that 4/4 filler, and I'm all right then.
Yeah, well, but the whole night of 4/4, I thought it would expand a little bit. I tried a few things that weren't 4/4, but they didn't take off because, maybe they weren't just weren't good enough songs. You know, I tried to go from the 4/4 to other things, and I tried to speed it up. I tried to slow it down, and it wouldn't take because DJs are stuck on mix mode, you know, which is
and matching beats all the time.
Matching beats, you know, if you play a record that's 120, the next record has to be 120.
And so then you're stuck in that all night.
Yeah.
Because how do you get out of it?
Yeah, exactly. And right, and if you try to play something that's 112, and it does, and you kind of fade it out and bring in the slower song, you know, people don't want to hear that. It deadens the crowd sometimes. So that's a problem. But we need to leave the mix behind, you know. Maybe I'll do it.
Because I mean, I remember back in the days when literally, you know, because of the technology, DJs were playing in 7s and flipping them over, and there was always gaps, but it didn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
As long as you drop great tunes. If you were a good selector, that's what mattered.
Yeah, well, you just got to switch it up a lot of times, you know. We need some variety.
One of the things I do think, you know, and you mentioned this earlier on, one of the things I think the whole house scene was really important for was it did kind of break down barriers, black and white, gay and straight, and all of that. It didn't kind of matter, did it?
Well, the dance floor is always
the dance floor is great for that.
They did that. They did that with rock and roll. You know, the dance floor is always. They did that with disco.
Yeah.
You know, so the dance floor always unites, no matter what race you are. I mean, people want to dance. You know, so that's always been the case. Did
you ever sort of go and enjoy Ibiza and all of that sort of stuff?
Well, I didn't enjoy Ibiza like most people because I stopped getting high in 1986. Right. So like,
I was going to say,
my Ibiza experience
is a bit different.
Is a lot different. You know, I mostly stay in. When I came out, you know, like 4 a.m. or finished DJ, the whole island would smell like vomit to me. So I'm, you know, it didn't have the same charm for me.
Yes,
you know,
sunrise is not quite as good if you're.
Yeah, you know, everybody somebody else may come out. Oh, it's so magical in Ibiza. No.
So where do you enjoy playing now?
Where do I enjoy it? It changes from year to year. You know, some areas are live one year and not as live another year. You know, I remember my favorite place to play was Croatia for a long time. Since it's gotten really, really popular. Was
that Dubrovnik? Oh, I can't remember where you were. Somewhere.
Well, Dubrovnik is one area. It wasn't the best area to be, though, because all over there it's a lot cheaper. You know, they have the best food in Europe.
Wow.
Yeah, the best food in Europe. The most beautiful scenery is mountains and water everywhere you look, right? So they got that. But the meat is very, very tender everywhere you go there. They try to hand you some line like, oh, it's been scientifically discovered to be the best place for cows to graze in the world. Get out of here. You just know how to cook good. You know, but they do pasta and pizza better than Italy now.
Well, they're next door, aren't they? I guess.
Yeah,
and the women look quite good too.
And they're right on the coast of the Mediterranean, right? So they have the best. It's fresh seafood, fresh caught seafood everywhere you go too.
But do you still enjoy getting back to Chicago?
No,
because you live in Jersey now, don't you?
Yeah, I get back to Chicago. Everybody asks for loans. You know,
don't ask the man for a loan.
I go back to Chicago. I'm broke.
Why did you want to do the book?
The opportunity presented itself. Right, I wanted to do the book at first, but now that it's time, I don't want everybody reading about my life, man. There's some embarrassing stuff in there.
Don't buy the book, whatever you do.
Oh, man, it's embarrassing stuff, man. You know, I was so stupid.
No. I'm not having that.
Oh, man. Yeah, so, like, you know, I know I shouldn't say that, but oh, man, it's embarrassing. I hope none of my friends read it. They'll all see I'm not rich enough to avoid anybody, right? So, like, they'll somebody's going to beat me up. You know?
I don't believe that for a single second. You're an extremely charming man. It's a fascinating book. Huh? He's quite a big guy. And he is one of the greatest DJs of all time. Marshall Jefferson, thank you.